Yes. So, can you see my screen? Can you hear me well? Anyone? Can you hear me?
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Uh, can you hear me or is it maybe the internet connection is? Okay, so can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Uh, so we're going to begin with um, the next session of the Masters of the Universe workshop, which is types of civilizations. But before we begin and dive deep into the topic, I'm just going to try and put in perspective actually how big the universe is. So you probably have a pet, for example, a dog. It is kind of small compared to, for example, a building. And then the building compared to the dog is pretty big, right? So you have this big building and then compare it to the buildings in your own city, all of these giant buildings, or even the small ones. And then your whole city full of buildings, of people, of probably rivers, for example, compared to your whole whole country. All of these cities in your country, all of the buildings, all of the people, all of the lakes or rivers, it's just gigantic, right? And then compare only your country to all of the other countries that are around the globe, all of the continents. It's just this giant piece of land, right? So if you had this giant piece of land and add all of the oceans and seas, we get this gigantic Earth. And Earth is so big that our mind can hardly even comprehend how big it is. So it is giant, right? But then if you compare it to the sun, which actually is only which actually can contain from 1.3 million Earths and fit like inside the sun. And then you see this tiny Earth, one over 1.3 million, and you can hardly even notice it. So now this giant Earth is not this super tiny. But then the sun, compared to all the suns in the galaxy, with all the planets and all the black holes, a lot of that's a lot of like mass and a lot of gravity and a lot of space, so to say. But then this galaxy, it is not only one. In the universe, there are billions of other galaxies. It is full of galaxies, full of clusters of galaxies. And all of these may seem on a picture like this big, for example, but if you zoom in, there are millions of stars and planets and other nebulas and particles, and it's just this gigantic space. So you see this like if you run back and zoom in to your pet to the building, you're basically just the tiniest fraction of the whole entire universe. So it is pretty hard to believe that we are alone and that there are no other civilizations here. It, and actually, scientists even believe that there are 40 billion habitable planets that may exist only in our galaxy. So to kind of put that in perspective, I have a video if you couldn't like catch me with the explanation and the comparison. That really every time I watch it, it's just fascinating. So yeah, we've got the person, and then if you zoom them out, you see the city, and then the whole country later on. It's just really fascinating to me. And we've got the little lake. something you see Jamaica, or even parents, how is this person you were with? And this girl was even more out trouble with the HC or whole sources, right? Here's the solar system, there's Jupiter and Venus, and this giant solar system full of planets. It's just now the tiniest little spot right there. This is the outer Oort cloud. And we've got some other stars right here. Shoots will see the things right here. Pleiades, the Orion Nebula. You cannot even imagine it lighter, right? It's tiny as a spot. Was the person smiling in the ground? Now, our galaxy, but now here, galaxies full of planets and stars. The whole entire universe. So it's just really fascinating to me. But later on in the video, we'll zoom right back in to this person right there. And look at our solar system and then Earth. It's tiny little spot. Look up. And there we go. And then later we'll be going on biological sense, but cells we're not gonna watch that till the end. But I kind of got what I wanted to point out, like how tiny we are in this gigantic space. So next, but like if you imagine this big space, and we said that there should be another, at least one civilization out there. We said there are 40 habitable planets that may exist in our galaxy. So how do we look for them, and what would it take to find one? And are there any universal rules that may apply to all of these civilizations? Well, Nikolai Kardashev actually kind of answers these questions with its Kardashev scale. So, Nikolai Kardashev, this is him. He was born on April 25th, 1932, in Moscow. Unfortunately, when he was at the age of 5, his father was shot, and his mother was actually imprisoned at a labor camp. Later released, but that was like 20 or 30 years later. So he had to live with his aunt, which unfortunately died in World War II when he was only 16. So he had to live by his own until he got to study at a university. So he studied astrophysics at the Moscow State University, and he specialized and really did a lot of research in the field of radio astronomy, which was really popular back at the time. So, but even though he did a lot of like research in that field, he's actually most known for his Kardashev scale, where he explained how different civilizations may be put on a scale based on their advancement. So we've got type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3. And this is basically where the Kardashev scale ends. But later, other scientists added type 4, type 5, and type omega, which is really interesting. But yeah, the Kardashev scale only ends by type 3. It's basically, the scale is based not only on their advancement, but it's kind of like a universal rule, so to say. It is based more on like their energy usage and how much from where their energy where they get their energy from. So we've got of course type 0. These are basically cavemen people who or civilization who only begin to understand how they may use their resources, and they later progress and start using more and more, understand more about how their planet works. So then later, they may reach from type 0 to type 1. That's where we are actually on the scale. we're not, we may think we're advanced, but we are not even reaching type 1 yet. But even though some scientists may think that we may reach type 1 in 100 years, which is pretty close, um, but we're not a full one yet. Because to be able to get to a full one, we would be able to control the weather and sorry, so we'll be able to control the weather, but we cannot yet because this will take to be able to get energy from all the natural disasters like tsunamis and floods and um, um, and earthquakes, but we are scared from them and we cannot harness them and control them. So that's why we cannot reach that level yet. But we are getting a step closer to step one because we are starting to use more renewable energy, which is kind of like the same, but not so dangerous, so to say, because we're using wind, sunlight, water, natural resources. Because earlier we were using a lot of fossil fuels, which basically we dig up from Earth, or coal, but they end. Like you dig up some, but at some point it will end. So we cannot use those forever. Unlike renewable energy, which we will be able to use until the sun stops shining, which will be probably in the billions of years, or until the wind stops, or there's no more water on Earth, which is going to be in a long, long time for sure. But if renewable energy is so good and never runs out, basically, why don't we use it everywhere? Well, as I earlier said, fossil fuels was used a lot and is still used a lot because it's everywhere around us, in your car, in the office, at school, everywhere. So we can just like replace all of our energy sources just with a click. It will take a lot of resources and a lot of money to be able to replace our energy sources. And not all of countries are able to do that. So we basically need to rebuild Earth, so to say, at some point. Uh, so as I said, we are not a full type 1 yet, type 1 civilization yet. We are actually a 0.75, and we would be able to reach type 1 approximately in 100 years. And as you can see on this scale, here Kardashian basically measured in which year uh, approximately to what level we will be. So in 1920, for example, we will be 0.6, but later, yeah, as you can see in 2020, he thought and kind of like with math, he decided that we will be a little bit after 0.7. So the scale is here is 2040, but as I said, we won't be able to reach the full type line, which will be probably somewhere here in 100 years. And right here you can see the watts that we use because to be able to reach a type of civilization, we would need to use and be able to get 4 times 10 of the 12 watts of energy, which is insanely a lot. Um, but even if you want to find types of civilizations that are type 1 civilizations, we would need to send signals, right? But we are not a type 1 civilization yet, nor is the other one probably. And we cannot send signals that are longer than 200,000 light years away. And our solar system is kind of like hidden in behind. It's kind of like hidden because those signals don't reach that long, honestly. They're just the tiniest little fraction of our whole Milky Way. So it would be really hard to reach other not so advanced civilizations with this light transmission. So next, of course, we have type 2 civilizations. And between type 1 and type 2 civilizations, we basically start to colonize the moon, or other planets' moons, colonize other planets, and start to more expand outwards. But for us to be able to reach a full type 2 civilization, we will need to harness all of the sun's energy. And that's like a lot. basically every 2 minutes, sun produces the same amount of energy as all of the Earth's annual consumption annualized and combined, basically. And that's, to put it in numbers, is 4 times 10 to the 26 watts. But to be able to gather all of this energy, we'll need to use Dyson spheres or Matryoshka brains. And purely hypothetical, but some believe that maybe they may be the way of being able to find type 2 civilizations. So a Dyson sphere is basically a megastructure that surrounds the whole star, basically the star in the center of the system the civilization is in. It surrounds all of it and uses thermodynamics. So, as you probably already know, thermodynamics is when we want to transfer heat, but the heat will naturally transfer from the hotter place to the cooler place. So, if we have a Dyson sphere, the star in the center will be really hot, and the heat from it will go to the cooler Dyson sphere around it. But according to the second law of thermodynamics, these Dyson spheres will emit heat waste, which heat waste um, kind of like emits radiation and produces radiation. And for us to be able to detect types of civilizations, we will actually have to kind of search for Dyson spheres or Matryoshka brains, which I will explain a bit later. So to be able to detect these Dyson spheres, we'll basically have to detect this radiation, and we'll have to search for these anomalies in radiation. But there is a problem again. A lot of radiation is not only emitted by heat waves. There are a lot of natural resources as well, like nebulas or galaxies or dusty galaxies, more prestigious. So if you would like to kind of like detect a star and there is radiation around it, it would probably most likely be just a nebula or a dusty galaxy. And actually, they have been like kind of searched for a Dyson sphere, and we have actually detected radiation, but later we just it's more likely to just be a nebula or another natural cause. So, moving on to Matryoshka brains, these, I don't know if you know the dolls, they're Russian dolls, Matryoshka. They're basically, this is basically a giant wooden doll that opens in half, and inside are tiny wooden dolls that again open in half, and inside the little one is another little one, and it's just the whole process. So it's basically built that way, that it's basically a Dyson sphere, but not only with one layer around the star, but with multiples all around. And these layers basically emit this, they basically get and gather this heat waste. So it's not just emitted into space and wasted, it goes basically to waste that way, but it's emitted and again used as an energy source. So they gather more energy like that. So next up we have type-free civilizations. And type-free civilizations are the last basically type on the Kardashev scale, the original Kardashev scale. And they're so far beyond us that we cannot actually kind of like imagine what the problems might be with a type 3 civilization. But if we could imagine what we kind of think with numbers and again with the energy source, we would believe that they would be able to gather information, harness all of the energy, not only of their whole star, but of their whole entire galaxy, all of these stars, all of these planets. And basically, this will mean that probably, hypothetically speaking, there might be a Dyson sphere or a Matryoshka brain around every single star, or at least most of the stars in the galaxy. This will basically be equivalent to a 4.10 of the 37 watts of all the entire galaxy. And if you would have to reach a Type 3 civilization, according to the Kardashev scale, we would need around 5,800 years to do so. And that is kind of a lot. So we imagine these civilizations, they can control basically the whole entire galaxy. But what could they also control if not only if they have this much energy, they probably have a lot of knowledge, probably with something so much knowledge that we can't even comprehend how much that is. They could probably be able to manipulate dark matter or dark energy, or they've probably even invented ships that move as fast as light, or even faster. Nobody knows. They probably invented a way how to travel through time, through space, through other universes, or communicate with our civilizations. We'll never know, basically. But to be able to find a type 3 civilization on any civilization that is beyond that, like type 4, type 5, Omega, which we'll talk about later, it will be pretty visible because their structures, like Dyson spheres, they will have a lot of in space, a lot of aircrafts and spaceships that will be able to detect easily. But since we haven't, there's probably a type 4 civilization no way near us. So type 4 and type 5 are again they're not the origin on the original Kardashian scale, but if they existed, they would basically be able to control not only the energy source of one galaxy, but of a whole cluster of galaxies. We're talking from thousands of galaxies to trillions of galaxies, full of stars and planets and black holes in the center. Uh, this is an intense amount of energy and a lot of knowledge they might have, but we would never know what that is and how that might even look. And then we have type Omega civilizations. They're probably the most interesting ones and have a lot of conspiracy and theories behind them, if they even might exist. But type Omega civilizations basically can we're not talking about energy sources anymore. We're talking about control. They can control basically the whole entire universe. And not only that, some speculate they might even be able to control the whole entire the other universes as well. So sorry, but I here it says that meeting went in 10 minutes. So just to kind of like warn you, the meeting will end, and then I will send another link later, so you can guys join again, and just be prepared that the meeting went automatically, and then I'll just send another link. So yeah, uh, so let me just right here. So, yeah, technically, they may not even control only uh one universe; they may control others as well, which kind of like thinking about that much control, we cannot just not go on the spiral and the rabbit hole of thinking about how they might even be behind the Big Bang, or time travel, or all of these wormholes that we talked about in another session before, all these mysteries that are waiting to be unraveled, and we can't even start to unravel right now at our rate, and they might even be able to control us right now. We'll never know, honestly. Or there's another possibilities. Maybe we have it all wrong, and maybe getting to a higher level on the Kardashian scale doesn't mean expanding outwards. Or and maybe we just are uh, too immature to realize what it actually means to be a bigger type of civilization. We'll never know, actually. And it's a really, really bothering thing to like think about. That we may have it all wrong. Everything we think about, it is crazy. So living with that crazy thought. Um, and here we got some things like kind of to imagine the Kardashian scale. Here we've got the type one. This basically gets you energy from the planet that they're coming from. Then type two kind of like expands to the sun, and type three is basically the whole entire galaxy. This is a type seven, which is obviously an AI image, but yeah, it's the whole universe, so to say. And now we have a discussion topic that is pretty interesting and kind of like to imagine what will happen. So, what will life be like for a Type 3 civilization that is capable of controlling an entire galaxy? So, yeah, it's a really interesting thing to kind of like try to imagine. So, um, Do you have any thoughts about that? You can speak up, it's okay. Can you hear me well? Navas, Lidhi, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, great. So I asked about because we kind of reached the end of the topic and the types of civilization. So we have a discussion topic that you can like kind of discuss between you two. What might life be like for a type-free civilization that is capable of controlling an entire galaxy? Do you have any thoughts on that?
We might have like uh, very advanced technology, like to go to moon or Mars for vacations and have habitat over there.
Yeah, they'll be really expanded and they'll have knowledge that can really think about what that might be. Like maybe they will have spaceships that will be allowing space travel. What do you think? Okay. It is a one-time opportunity to be able to be talking to people that have kind of like the same interest as you and being able to actually talk to a person about it. So if you want to, you can just discuss what do you think? What would they have? What would they be inventing? Even what would they look like? Their beliefs, maybe. There are a lot of categories to go into in this topic. Okay, so I had a quiz, but I guess it's kind of pointless right now. So thank you for your attention and for being interesting in this topic and for staying till the end. Um, uh, Go to the other meetings, go to the other sessions. They're really interesting as well. It's just kind of a more hypothetically speaking and more of a imagine how it will look like session, not so much of a theoretical one like we had with black holes, white holes, and wormholes the other day. So yeah, I know that Ricky, you have like a presentation as well. Would you like to like present it right now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. But the meeting will end in 3 minutes. So maybe it would be better if we close this meeting and we create another one, and then you join in this one and present because here we've got only 3 minutes left.
Okay.
Okay, great. So now I'm leave. I'll send another link and then just join and present your presentation. Okay, so till later.